Yeah, trendsetter. Whoa, league of my own, it don't get better. No, read what I wrote, I'm a bestseller. Yeah, reach for my goals, hit it dead center. Hit it dead center. Bullseye, hit it the most, there's no misses. Something like fish in a barrel, it's no dip.
Boom! We're back, baby. Quartah Pole's here. Episode 107, Season 4. Numero uno, back in action. Pete, talk to me about your Wednesday night, baby.
Hello, how you doing? Happy 107th. Special note, the 7th episode we ever had was Brian Casey's first ever episode. So 100 episodes later. Congratulations, Brian Casey.
Full circle, his last episode tonight. Case, welcome back. Sayonara. And I'm kidding, Brian. Welcome back, Case. Happy anniversary.
Awesome. What a welcome back to great news. 100 episodes. Man. How you guys
We
doing?
had the 6th episode. Oh, I'm sorry. He was on the 6th episode, technically. That was the post-draft one where Christian said no comment right off the bat. But the first ever Brian Casey solo show was episode number 7.
If I recall Case's first show, he didn't know we talked before. And I think we did it, and he showed up like 8 minutes in. And then we pre-production the next time, and he's like, this is so much more fun. Why can't I do this?
Like wrestling intro when I came in. I didn't actually, funny, 100 episodes ago, I didn't show up to the post-draft one. I did that draft via Zoom with Cullen as a baby sitting on my shoulder because he would only sleep if he was on me. So I drafted with him sleeping on me that year. Terrible draft.
There you go.
Was that the Gus Edwards draft or different draft?
It took 1 minute and 40 seconds, Mike. Congratulations.
I honestly don't know why. I got a new chair. Maybe that's why.
No.
See how close you could get to the screen.
It doesn't even make sense. I'm not going to comment. Hey, guys, bad news.
What?
The WNBA playoffs tonight.
Oh. Hey, I heard a rumor that Sheila's football team's 0-4 and you don't know what to do to help her.
How'd you know Sheila's team's 0-4?
Instead, he heard a rumor.
Oh.
Heard a rumor.
Texting my wife again?
And I heard a rumor that you're not very good at advice. Is that true, too?
No, I felt bad because I had a draft the same night she did, and she's like, who do I pick? I was like, I haven't seen who anybody picked, so it's like hard to know what's too early, what's too late. I don't have the rhythms of teams. Her team's great every time I look. I'm like, I don't know anything about football. She's like, aren't you on a podcast? I was like, yeah, but we don't talk about anything substantive.
Yeah.
We have our own scoring system, our own rosters. We're only good about our league. It doesn't translate.
She still doesn't understand how anybody else would listen. They were like, why do they don't even know anything about you? I'm like, don't worry about it.
I don't think they do.
Everyone has a podcast. Ours looks good. Yeah.
Ours looks great. Speaking of looking great, guys, we're gonna get to the preview. Pete, you commented last week. Is it the year of blank? I feel like we could be there, dude. But let's do some week 4 recapping. It's another big week for Spates. The year of Spates is upon us. But we'll hear how week 4 went. Pete, start with your stats and see if Case and I can guess.
Yeah, the year of Spades continues. I guess that would be like the Chinese year of the giraffe.
I think so. Or the rat.
Boom of the week goes to CJ Spates, 173.76. It is his back-to-back boom. I was trying to figure out how many people have had back-to-back booms because I wanted to be like, let me check. But DeVita, last time it happened was DeVita in 2022. So it's been a while. But
DeVita won in 2022.
Yeah, it has happened a number of times, including Kaleli. You won it 5 times in a row one time.
No.
Do you remember that? Yeah, the first year we had the booms. You won it 5 years in a row. 5 weeks in a row.
Let me guess, weeks 2 through 6.
I have to double check that one. That one seems weird. But anyway, congratulations to Spates, 4th all time. Moves him up the list, but he's still pretty low there. When he gets above 5, we'll start talking. Beast of the week, any guess? Actually, Beast of the week and going long, same guy. So
Derrick Henry.
Oh, good one, Case.
Brian Casey nails it. Derrick Henry had an 87-yard rush, and he scored 43 fantasy points. It was outside the top 50 as far as beasts are concerned. It was a pretty long play, though. The average score this week was 131. The magic number is 136. If you finish above it, you are 15-1. If you finish below it, you are 5-19.
Seems like a good number.
So magic number 136.
So hey, whoever the winner of the league is this year, will they be the winner of the 2024 season or the 2025 season?
4. Why?
Because then that would make them it would be the year of the dragon.
Oh.
and the dragon is confident, intelligent, and enthusiastic. That does not sound like Spates.
No, that's definitely not.
You know what it sounds like.
Boys.
You know what sounds like Spates. The year of the snake. Intelligent, wise, and enigmatic. Oh, but last year you won. That's what I'm saying. I think it's a year off because it sounds like if Case won it in 2024, he's the dragon. The year before that, who won the year before Case did?
Andy.
I think Andy could be the rabbit. Quiet, elegant, kind, and responsible. I think it's the year of the snake. This feels good for Space. Pete, what year did you win it?
19.
2019. It's either no, you're not that. It's either the year of the pig, compassionate, generous, and diligent. No. Or it's 2020, the year of the rat, quick-witted, resourceful, and versatile.
2020. You're the rat.
I think it's the year you win the title.
All right. I'll take it.
I like it.
There we go. So next year's winner will be the dragon. No, the snake. The year of the snake.
I'm the dragon.
CJ the snake.
CJ the snake and Case is Sisu. All right, we just did those things. I was half paying attention because I was staring at the Chinese zodiac sign. Are we doing some game recaps? Game of the week was a blowout, gang. Lloyd didn't show up, but let's get the recap on it. Pete, I believe I didn't look or do the math. You usually do. I believe this was the blowout of the week, and I believe Spates boomed all over Lloyd.
Was it the blowout of the week? I actually don't know. Case, do you know?
Let me look quick. It looks accurate from first glance.
63. Yeah, that must be.
That's a lot of points. Yeah. 162 to 96 is rides and CGD.
Yeah, Jeff won it. All right. Anyway, all right. Number 1 seed CJ taking it over number 2 seed Dan, 173 to 110. It was a beatdown. CJ puts up the 3rd highest score of the season on his way to back-to-back booms. When you look at his roster, he is pretty balanced top to bottom. I don't really have much else to say about that. Dan needs a quarterback, and he needs to improve those bottom 3, the Moss, London, Harris bunch down there. One good news for Lloyd, it looks like Brian Thomas, that guy on Jacksonville, might have had a breakout. And if you look at his upcoming schedule, 6 of his next 7 games are against top-bottom defenses, which is just me clicking around on Yahoo. Shout out to Steve DeVito. So anyway, big win for CJ. Good for him.
Pete, I'm going to have you stay on the clock here. You've been a team. You run the table, essentially. You have been a team that has had high expectations, started 3-4-0, and ridden that to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Spates hasn't been in that seat for a while. He's been 0-2, 1-3 the last couple of years, and he's turned it on at the end. How do you think about the year differently when you have high expectations and you start to get fast? Do you think about waivers differently? Do you think about trades differently? What's it like? What's it like being a front runner? Give Spates some insights into the mind of what that could be like.
What do you got on waivers?
No one's talking to you. I probably wouldn't be the best person to ask because I tend to make a lot of moves. I tend to panic. I tend to
But seriously, Pete, you don't operate differently if you're a good team or you're what you've been the last 2 years.
I think it's still too early. I think that I give it a couple more weeks. I think 4-0, and he's the highest scoring team by far. You don't have to do anything. You don't really have to panic. There's no one's throat you have to put your foot on yet. Like, I don't think it's there yet. So my advice to him would be, as the front runner, just kind of take it easy. I think in the past I might have done a trade or 2 here or there to really solidify that I was going whatever, but it's not necessary. He's got a really good team, and don't blow it.
The thing I've liked about Spates' team in the first couple of weeks, if you just look week to week, Neighbors has emerged in a way I didn't expect. Is the most targets in the NFL. He and Nico Collins are way up there. He never has bad weeks. Like, I look at his roster, and it's just so top to bottom. He gets a boom here and there, but he didn't have Derrick Henry. He didn't have the high point of the week. Every single week he does this, and he does the thing that I like when you do it with quarterbacks, which is that floor that a running quarterback can get is pretty massive. He's had a couple injuries, so he hasn't even had the sort of season so far that you'd say he's an outlier. He's dealt with a lot. His team's good. and he can withstand buys. It's really looking like this could be the year of Spates, and I think he's going to have a couple of decisions late as to who to ride, but he's in a good spot right now. What was that, Pete?
The year of the snake.
Year of the snake. On the other side, Case, tell me, rank the worry. Rank the worry. You lose Rashee Rice for the season. Breece Hall appears to be the second best running back in New York. Technically third best if you want to count Devin Singletary. Fourth best if you want to count James Cook. And I don't have a quarterback who can score more than 15 points. Buffalo's in New York. That's why I said that. If you're Lloyd, I'm assuming Rice is like those are three both big and real worries.
I think the Rashee Rice is probably the highest concern because he's, I think was said on last week's thing that, Mike, I think you said it, he has the best three flex options when he has Chase, Lamb, and Rashee Rice to carry whatever quarterback issues he has. Breece Hall was like this a little bit last year too, a little bit up and down, running game, tough Denver defense, bad game script, all that type of stuff. So I would put that as my least worry. The quarterback issue, I think, is now becoming more of an issue.
Yeah, I mean,
I have to say, Dan Larkin is in the comments saying that this is worse than the vice presidential debate and calling Mike Kaleli Kamala Kaleli.
Oh, yeah.
How do you see that? Where is it? Comments?
Oh, great. Thanks, Dan. I don't. Is he? Even if Rashee Rice scored 30 points last week, he still would have lost by 30. So what is he talking about? Damn, put a team together before you start commenting and look at the facts, dude. Jeez.
He needs a quarterback, Dan. What are you doing?
I'm going to call Lloyd Mafuga. Make fantasy great again. Come on, Dan. You can do it, buddy.
And honestly, I'll tell you right now, Lloyd is a Big Brother fan like I am. He's a super fan, bro. We're both super fans, and there's no Big Brother going on tonight. You have a free night to go do some trades. He's on our live feed making comments, making right wing comments.
Are you guys a Brigade fan? Make QBs? No. I've been trying to make QBs great again for years, Dan. Come on, get on the two quarterback super flex. Are you guys a Brigade fan?
Yeah, I like the Brigade. That's old school, though.
That's old school. That's the last season I watched.
The meow. This season is awful. I gotta say, Dan will probably disagree with it, but it's really terrible. Anyway.
All right. Well, tough week for Dan. If you said you're going to get 4 points total out of Breece Hall and Rashee Rice, I think we all would have predicted Dan would have lost. So, tough break. We'll see if he can rebound next week and see what quarterback he decides to play. I think Jacoby Brissett's on the waiver wire. Second game, Pete, gallant effort to none. Breen, another victory. And Nico Collins is really making Breen's team look quite differently than it did before the season. Pete, give us the recap. Breen over to Luca.
He erupted there towards the end. Breen beat me 126-114. Nico Collins and Jalen Reed were the difference. They scored 60% of his team's points, so they did a lot of work for him. Good news for me. I think Chase Brown might be a starter. Might at least take some more carries in Cincinnati, so I might have a starter in there. I'm a little concerned because Kyler was bad in a Redskins matchup that was very easy.
2 weeks in a row he's been bad, Pete. Give me your Cardinals sentiment.
I thought he was a must-start guy. He's no longer a must-start guy. I was able to go out there and pick up a bunch of quarterbacks to block Darian, but realistically, 2 of them are tied to my wide receivers. So
I was wondering, I'm like, why is he picking up all these quarterbacks? I thought it was another prank again. That's right. He doesn't have Darius now.
I want to make sure Darian has to start like the worst quarterback ever. So anyway, we can get into that later. But
Larkin has 2 quarterbacks. He can trade one of them to Darian.
Kyler's not must start.
It's tough, Pete, when you hit your wagon to an offense and they play. I was big on DeLuca this week. You're playing this defense that everybody could score on. But when they don't play well, you're in trouble. It's tough to rebound off that. Oh well. Case, very different. Very different than the game review of team Spates. Have you looked at Breen's point distribution last week?
I have. I'm looking at it right now.
He had 80 from 2 guys and 40 from everybody else. So Nico Collins is carrying him. Marvin Harrison has been there every week, and he gets another boom performance from Jaden Reed. Green at 3-1, I think, has to be your biggest first quarter surprise.
100%. 100%. We thought he was going to be in the bottom two with Pete, right? They were contending for that last spot.
I'm not in the bottom two.
No, not right now. Not right now. Neither is Breen. So yeah, certainly first half surprise. Nico has been I think he's emerged as a top 5 wideout in all fantasy. And it just happened that Pete played the wrong of his 3 quarterbacks. If he played any of the other 2, he would have won by a point or 2 points. So riding that Kyler train is officially backfired.
Yeah, Kyler was must start. I learned my lesson, and he will now be matchup dependent.
Well, even if it was matchup dependent, you would have started Kyler. The Commanders' defense was awful the last 3 weeks.
Yeah,
the Giants beat up on him.
That game was a surprise. So,
did you watch it at all?
Very, very little of it.
I had it.
I wouldn't have played golf against Seattle with their defense, how they've been playing. So, like, you're sort of, is it Geno or is it Kyler? And obviously, Kyler has the higher upside. So it was. We're just chiming in.
Did you notice that his name is Danny on the chat? I don't know why that really cracks me up.
Danny Larkin. Hey, Danny boy.
Hey, Danny boy. What are you saying there, Danny? All right. Pete, tough loss. You really had a chance there. You hung in there. So, but classic. Game 3, speaking of not hanging in there, DeVito's team's awful. I destroyed him, and my team didn't even play that well. Give us the recap. DeVito tumbling down the standings, loses to Kelowna.
Yeah. Mike 139-95. It was a wire-to-wire win for Mike. You never gave up the lead. Lamar Jackson and Tony Pollard scored 50% of Steve's awful total. So it's really, really bad over there. Mike, you played 2 Panthers and you got away with it. Good for you. I'm a little concerned about where Steve DeVito goes from here.
Can I give insights into something that happened, or don't? I'll do that off the show.
Go nuts.
I won't go to the specifics. I think Tyreek Hill is untradeable. He's his number 1 asset. I don't see a world where he trades him. Tyreek Hill has been a top 50 wide receiver the last 3 weeks. What's DeVito going to get for this guy? I don't know, man. His team stinks. I was not worried for 1 iota of the week. I was like, first I'm like, oh man, Dowdle scored. I was like, oh, his team's awful. It was the most relaxing win I've had in 4 years.
It's my only win.
You beat him? What happened to Baltimore? He can't even play Mark Andrews. Like, it's just.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's tough. Case, I get a win though. I get a win on another James Cook stinker when Buffalo didn't do anything. Dak didn't really do that much. They didn't have the ball a lot Thursday night, but a pretty solid beat the 136 number that Pete tells me I need to get to, and an evenly distributed game for the chosen ones.
Yeah, James Conner had a nice little start to this year. He's still hanging around, man. That guy feels like he's super old.
He's a survivor.
Yeah, that's true. He is. Yes. You like the Dalton play now? Does that make Deontay sort of matchup?
I have to. I mean, he's got like a 40% target share. He gets 13 targets a game. You got to play him.
Always chasing too, which always helps.
That's it. They stink. They're always gonna be behind.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about Chuba with Brooks coming back, but I don't know. We're all right. I got the big dog this week, Case, so we'll see if the boys can show up in a game that really matters. DeVito, that's like those times we scrimmaged the JV team and Goose kept Vaughn Canta in and didn't call a foul to see if he could rattle our cages. Doesn't work.
Who did Steve beat?
It's like Josh Luby press coverage. Like, hey, buddy.
Right, Danny?
Right, Danny?
Come on, Danny. Just get in the stance, Danny. What's the next one, Pete? I don't have my sheet.
Who did Steve beat? Oh, he beat Ennis week 1.
He did. Oh, that's right. He did.
He was lucky in week 1.
No, because Tyreek, A.J. Brown, and Lamar had a combined 100 points between the 3 of them. Remember?
That's right. They all put 30-something up.
All right. Well, speaking of DeVito's lone dance partner, Ennis takes down another guy with only one win who had pretty high expectations. Let's get that recap. Ennis potentially knocking Darian to the bottom of the standings.
Yeah, not much to say here. 162 to 96. Jeff gets the win. It was another wire-to-wire win, just like you, Mike. And actually, similar to Steve, Christian's team kind of didn't really show up. Same amount of points, kind of no juice on those teams. Mason continues to carry Jeff, but for how long? McCaffrey's going to come back, but McCaffrey's also on his team. I think it's kind of interesting because, this Mason thing is going very well, but when you bring back McCaffrey, he's not going to be 100%, and there's going to be this transition period, and it's going to be like, whoa, who do you start? So right now it's good for Jeff, but I think there's going to be rough seas ahead.
What do you do in that instance?
Trade them both.
So consistent. You're so consistent. So, Case, I asked you the question 4 minutes ago about Breen being the biggest upside surprise. Darian has to be the biggest disappointment.
We're just looking at his roster, and I'm trying to figure it out. Why were we so high on his team?
I picked him to win.
I know. Like, was it? I'm just looking at it. Like,
honestly, I picked him to win because of Jalen Hurts. I think that he has a very high floor. And I think the rest of the guys were going to come around that.
Look at his guys. Every single
was it? I was going to say, was it like a Hurts, Bijan?
Case. Just name his four best flex. Bijan, great name, nothing. Garrett Wilson, great name, new quarterback, nothing. ETN can barely stay on the field over Buck Bigsby, nothing. He's got Rashad White, who's got supplanted already by Bucky Irving. Achane can't do anything without Tua. Like, literally every guy that we were like, oh, big names, they can boom. They've all disappointed. There's not one guy on his team who you're like, oh, man, what upside he got. Who, Brock Bowers, who's about to get 900 total yards and maybe 7 touchdowns? Like,
first-round pick Brock Bowers, too. First-round pick Brock Bowers, 10th overall. I think we all suffer from some sort of goggles on CGD, like thinking that he was way better than he was, and it's certainly turning into that right now. I don't think he's going to make the playoffs.
Oh, what a bold take! The 8th place guy that's second worst in points isn't going to.
I was just in 9th 2 weeks ago, dude. Now I'm
cool down over there.
Case, whoa,
still early. We're only at the quarter pole.
Hot take there, Skip Bayless. He's got 3 tight ends. I don't deal with 3 tight ends.
Yeah, I'm a little confused with what he's doing on that because he has bench players he can play.
Playing someone. DeVito goes 3 tight end method, and they're all on his bench together.
He does. We're so in DeVito's head on that tight end thing. I want to comment quickly on Jeff's team, though. So, to me, probably next to Spates, I think the deepest and best roster. Pete, you bring up a great point. 49ers backfield murkiness, big question mark. Health of J.K. Dobbins, who's been a stalwart, big question mark. Alvin Kamara is currently the #1 fantasy player. But you've got some pretty big performances from people in your Jonathan Taylor's about to be out. So, like, he's going to have some managing to do in a way that's very different than Spates, in my opinion. Team's really good. I'm going to keep Jeff in the running. He's going to be right there. He's going to have some stuff to deal with over the next couple of weeks with this roster, I think.
And maybe that's why he threw down $66 on Wicks last night. Like he really did a desperation one. So it makes a lot more sense when you think about it that way.
I want a Wicks.
I did too. I thought 25 would have done it.
I did too. 0.
What did you bid?
0.
You bid 0?
I have this thing where, like, I'll go in there on Monday or Tuesday and I'll put in like who I want, and then I'll wait a day and put in like the dollar amount to see how the news changes. And I just forgot that.
Mike, what did you put? Mike, what was your bid?
11 or 19.
30 something? 34?
Wow, you must.
I was third. There was somebody ahead of me. I think Dan was ahead of me. Lloyd was ahead of me.
Wow.
He was still third in targets on that team, and it was a 54 pass attempt game. So, like, I think he might be a little overhyped right now.
You think Darian's kicking himself for spending 100 on
No. What's he gonna do now?
Bro,
he's gonna look for all those quarterbacks to clear waivers. Pete, you got him.
You can't even play that guy. You can't spend $100 and not be able to play the guy. Whatever. All right, last game of the week. Case, this is Sweat Bowl. This is the 3rd game you've had.
God.
It's been a total Monday night sweat fest. But you got the win. Let's hear it. Case barely hangs on and beats DeVita 146 145.
146 to 145, 1 point. It was a Monday Night Miracle for Casey. I think the formula is pretty clear for Derrick Henry. It's always been if they're going to be winning, he's going to be used. So, it's great for DeVita. I loved having Derrick Henry. I thought he was the best. Casey won by 1 point, and he won by 4 points last week. But he lost by 30 points and then lost by 1 point. So kind of a crazy start for Casey.
Yeah. Were you watching Monday Night, Brad?
So when Amon-Ra got tackled on the 1, I went to bed. I was like, this is not working out. I'm going to bed. And then I woke up to see that he threw for a touchdown for the 1 point victory. So
no, but he caught he was wide open. He made a catch to win, and I was like,
he needed both. He needed both. Like I was actually going into when did Henry play? They played Sunday night. Yeah, going into that, I was like, oh, I'm in striking distance. He's got one. I got one left, and then Henry went off, and I'm like, oh, this is a bad spot.
Classic.
And then he got tackled on the 1. I'm like, all right, this is not going to happen. I'm going to lose again. And then I woke up to a 1 point victory, so it was good.
Lucky dog. Question for you guys. Don't look. Patrick Mahomes this season. What rank quarterback is he? Fantasy total points.
12th.
15th.
He's the 15th ranked fantasy quarterback.
Oh, Pete. That's his number too.
That's why I went with it.
Andy's team, if you look at it top to bottom, he stayed healthy. He's played well. I think the real difference is Mahomes has been pedestrian. He's not even an every week starter, and he's influencing Kelsey in a negative way. Kelsey came back to life this week because of the Rice injury. You get 43 from Henry. You put up 145. The only 135 plus point that loses, that's a tough break for Andrew. I don't know what he does because Mahomes is his guy. He has to ride Mahomes.
You think Kelsey's back now?
Yeah, they have no other options. Who is the Juju?
Indy's had the second hardest strength of schedule. He's given up 608 points against, so he's had some bad luck to start the year.
Who's the hardest?
DeVito.
Oh, well, they don't have to play. They don't have to play themselves, which always helps.
Right. So
tough break for Ange. But good week, good close games. Before we get into our week 5 preview, let's get our picks rundown. Who has the picks these days? Because Case wasn't here last week.
Hold on. I wish this was more professional, but it isn't. There you go.
There we go. So we got Case with the champ with 4. Everybody else, including ChatGPT, with 3. Case, what was your separator? Oh, you didn't get the upset. Pick yourself.
Yeah, the only one he really did was the upset. Mike, I appreciate you going with me on the upset, but
I was with you, Pete.
ChatGPT kind of sucks.
Yeah, well, we're not using ChatGPT this week because the system broke. I'm kidding. I was too lazy to put things in.
All right. Well, whatever. Makes our life easier.
All right. Well, let's get there. Week 5 on the books. Who's got DeVito's picks?
I can say him.
All right. Week 5. This guy's going to have a lot of game of the weeks this season. Tall boy, short boy. Can Kaleli be the first team to take down Spates? We've got buys this week, and they affect this game greatly. But let's hear the preview and get some picks. Spates, Kaleli, game of the week. Go.
How do you feel about when you're talking about yourself, talking about like saying, will Kaleli go down? I always feel weird calling myself.
I feel weird, but I mean, I'm hosting a podcast that 10 people listen to, so the whole thing's kind of a charade.
All right. The first 4 weeks of the season, CJ, the number 1 scoring team, has outscored Mike all 4 weeks of them. It has been bad. Yeah. The only thing is Mixon looks like he might be hurt, and I don't think Spates really has a pivot. And Mike, you scored over 130 last week. I think it's going to come down to Monday Night Football, and I think you're going to be able to hold on. Mike, I'm going to pick Mike in the upset. Sorry, I didn't really look at this game that closely. I'm going to go with Mike in the upset.
This is a kind of a wild week that we're playing each other. I think on paper you'd say Saquon's been my best player. oh, to play me the week Saquon's out gives the other team an advantage. On the other side of it, you've got Devonta Smith, who's out on a bye. You've got Jahmyr Gibbs, who's out on a bye. And then it feels like Neighbors is going to be out. So, like, you're looking at both rosters not being at optimal speeds, but we've been touting Spates' depth every week. So, Case, you look at his roster. Like, does his depth hold, or is this the first week when you say injuries and buys is getting in his way?
It's interesting. You guys are both, I think, in the same spot. Like, both have the bye bug, both have some injuries to maneuver in, and both probably best move on your bench currently as standard are waiting on injuries to starting running backs to figure if they're going to get in. You with Bigsby and him with Sermon to maybe fill in for Jonathan Taylor to fill in maybe one of those spots that's coming out. So I see you guys both in the same spot. I think the difference is going to be Daniels against Cleveland. That pass rush, he's going to have to get out. Legs are going to be heavily involved. I'm going to take Jaden Daniels. I'm going to take Spates, and I'm taking Spates for the boom again.
Ooh.
Yes.
See, the reason I like Mike is those injuries. I'm sorry, I wasn't 100% clear on all of that, but when I was looking at that, if that guy if Spates has to start Trey Sermon, I think Mike has enough of a depth of talent to overcome that. So I really do think the mix and injury is key.
This is the week someone would get Spates. I love if Saquon was playing. To me, it's the question we talked about when I was up last time. I'm again going to have to play two Panthers. I literally have no choice.
It worked out well.
I know. And I also have to play two Bears. And so I've got four guys locked up in two offenses that I would not say are the most dynamic. There's one move I'm likely also going to make.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Trade?
No, nobody wants to trade with me. I've offered the same trade to like 4 teams. No. I think I'm playing Richardson. I'm taking myself to upset. I'm taking Richardson's going in. I like the dogs one more time. Come on, Panthers. I just think
even healthy enough to play?
What?
Is he healthy enough to play?
If he plays, I'm playing him. He's due.
Why are you so against?
Who?
Why are you against playing Dak?
I don't like the on the road against Pittsburgh. The defense didn't look great. Cowboys offense is so one-dimensional. They can't run the ball. And I just worry about that guy Sunday night on the road against Pittsburgh. Feels like one of those.
It's going to be Sunday night NBC coverage in Pittsburgh. They're going to be all over that TJ Watt. It's going to be like a TJ Watt love fest.
That's why.
Not watching that.
At the WNBA playoffs, we can watch that together again. If Spates wins this week, he's going to sweep the league. That's my prediction. If we don't get him this week, he's sweeping the first. He's sweeping. He's going 9-0.
That's thinking highly of yourself.
Thanks. I put a lot of pressure on. Kaleli puts pressure on Kaleli.
Why would you say that though? As Brian Casey just said, he has had the easiest schedule so far this season.
I'm just saying he's boomed twice and he's got buys and injuries right now. I think they'll clear up in the next couple of weeks. That's my prediction.
If he's won 4 in a row, don't forget he won 7 out of the last 8, so he's 11 out of 12 so far to finish the year. So anyway, but I'd love to see somebody sweep the league. One of my favorite accomplishments.
Me too. I like that. Well, let's see if it's Spates. We got double upset. You and I. Who DeVito pick?
CJ.
Classic. All right. Well, speaking of DeVito, I think he's about to get beat. But let's get the preview. Breen, our 2 seed, versus DeVito, our 9 seed. Pete, what do you got?
Yeah, Breen's the number 2 scoring team as well, and number 9 seed Steve is the 10, the lowest scoring team in the league. Breen outscored Steve in 3 out of the 4 weeks of the season so far. Steve looks like he's going to start Bucky Irving, which is a funny name, but you don't get points for that.
And Michael Wilson. He's still starting Michael Wilson. He's the 5th option.
I really don't like Bucky Irving on a short week on the road. I don't think it looks good. And Breen is starting a stack bring back with Josh Allen, Shakir, and Nico Collins. So can't go against that. I'm going to pick Breen in the lock.
Case, if you had told me before the season, hey, there's a team in the 5th week of the year that's going to start Juwan Jennings, Michael Wilson, and Bucky Irving, would you have assumed that team was going to win or lose that game?
Lose heavily.
Yeah, I think so.
I would also say there had been a lot of things that went wrong, like a lot.
a lot. Where's the place that you would worry if you're Kev? Is it disappointment on his roster that maybe Buffalo rebounds and they have a low-scoring game against the Texans, or is it Tyler Huntley comes back and they throw 62 swing passes to Tyree? What's the worry if you're looking at it from Kev's perspective?
The worry, I think, is I think that Buffalo-Houston game profiles as a high-scoring game, but for some reason, neither offense clicks because we expect it to. And Miami against New England, for somehow Tyreek hits a couple and Waddle gets goose egg because they just don't have the quarterback play to probably distribute to both players. And Tyreek, for complaining all last week, they just try to make him happy, and it works because he usually does fairly well against New England. And DeVito squeaks one out like a 102-96 type game. He's got to play green ball of 2023, 2024.
What do you think you should do with Mark Andrews?
Cut him.
Really? You think he's cuttable?
I mean, honestly, no, because he has worse players on his team.
Sorry, what did you say? There was my computer started making noise. You said who?
I to pick?
No, what is the question you asked, Pete? I like your question. My computer was just making noise. I couldn't hear you.
Mark Andrews.
Is Mark Andrews cuttable?
Yes, but he has to hold him. What else?
He's holding on to Jalen Polk.
In this league,
9 guys. Pete, he has David Njoku held. We don't even know when he's coming back. He's like,
hey, Njoku caught a bunch of plays down in the playoffs last year. He's holding for the playoff push.
There are 9 guys. There's 9 guys on DeVito's roster that if he cut him, I would say, oh yeah, that makes sense. 9 guys. I can count 9 guys. I can see that.
I would still hold on to Andrews. I think that even in a keeper's, I don't know. There's a couple things going on there, but I don't think he's 100% washed. Anyway, that's not that.
It's almost like Pete and DeVito are playing the same game, and Pete's just so much better at it than him. Like, neither team has a ton of draft picks.
Yeah, it's called life.
Trade away a ton of draft capital, and Pete has done a much better job putting a competitive unit waiver wire to waiver wire, because DeVito has the second most moves at 11. Pete's got 18 so far in 4 weeks. He's doing a much better job of it.
I have to play weekly matchups. It's not the old OCD that I used to have. I'll tell you right now. It's more strategic. I do all my moves at one time. Yeah.
Back to back Super Bowl loser. Anybody courageous enough to pick DeVito?
No. Did he pick himself?
He did not, I don't think. Breen's my lock. I'll take Breen to lock.
Oh.
I'm taking Breen, no superlative.
I took Breen to lock.
We got that one.
And AI's broke. All right. Next one.
Game number 3. Is he still on, by the way? Or did he just come on to troll us?
He's on. He's still there.
He has not typed anything, though.
Maybe he's like, he gets us up on the flat screen. He's all cuddled up.
Live? Can you see that he's live?
I can see there are 2 people watching us, yeah.
That's so weird. Who's the other one?
I don't know.
Whoever the other person is, comment in there. You can even make yourself anonymous. What is it? All right, so red room battle. Let's hear it. Case versus Lloyd. This I feel like wasn't there some sort of rivalry between you guys last year or 2 years ago?
That's before I won it all.
Yeah, they were the last.
You made that bet. You made the bet.
Oh yeah, that was another year that everything went completely wrong for me 2 years ago.
All right, well, let's see how it goes in week 5. Pete, give us a preview.
What is this? Dan and Casey. Okay, Dan's the 5th seed, but he's the number 3 scoring team. Casey's the number 6 seed, and he is boringly the number 6 scoring team. You guys have split the first 4 games, so you guys have each scored each other twice. When you look at Casey's roster, I actually think the injuries benefit Casey. He's a coach by profession. And I think that, evaluating talent, looking at the news benefits the way this kid manages other than, a set it and forget it roster. I think it had a good showing last week, and it was because of those injuries. Still, I think Lloyd is too strong. And I think that after scoring 110 points, he is going to blow up for 100 and something. He had 180 before that. So I feel like Lloyd is going to be a powerhouse here. So I'm going to pick Dan.
Pete, I'm going to ask you a question because this game is the first one where it really comes into factor. Both of these guys have a very important player on their roster. In the London game, you see a guy on your roster whose kickoff is at 9:30 in the morning. Does that make you more excited because you get to watch a guy, or less excited because of the time change?
Well, define less excited. What are we talking about? Fantasy? We're talking about, like, if I have a guy in there, do I think he's going to perform? Or
yeah. Like, I can tell you, for me, if I see someone playing Saturday morning, I'd rather not play them. I always think something's going to go wrong when I see a Sunday morning game. I'm like, time change, flights.
I've never really thought about it, but now that I do think about it, I would avoid that. Yes. I think that there's too many different variables, and it's probably a lot to adjust to. Yeah, I would probably avoid somebody on a London game. Now I'm going to start doing that.
All right, there you go. See, insights, even insights host to host there, Pete.
Thank you.
Rashee Rice out. Devonta Adams out. Looks like he's going to get traded. We haven't gotten your take on Devonta Adams. Where are we? He's been useless to you this season.
Last 2 weeks he has. He's actually had a decent start to the year. Yeah, I'm actually hoping he gets traded to some place that I would love for him to end up in New York, back with Rodgers, immediately supplant Garrett Wilson as the number one, get that connection back together. I just need him for fantasy relevance, so I want him to get traded.
Right.
Sooner the better.
Have you guys seen all the clips about Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson like fighting like in the huddle and stuff like that? They like openly are like yelling at each other on the field.
But Rodgers is also like openly ridiculing Salah. I'm like, this went sour fast. It's the fourth week. What are we doing here?
Bad situation.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like a very good locker room guy.
I wouldn't want to be in that locker room. Case, Lloyd's team, even without Rice, still top to bottom is pretty strong. Smith-Njigba is a really strong bottom of the bench option. Brian Thomas is strong from a target perspective, and Ken Walker is, without question, healthy. You have to look at this roster and say, top to bottom, Dan has more talent than me. You have to say that. I don't see how you don't say that. React to my comment and make your pick.
I completely agree. I think the only path to victory for myself is
Steve just joined. You'll get used to it. Don't worry. Hey, Steve.
Case wasn't here last week.
I can't see him. He still showed up. He's loading. Is a Jordan Love, Romeo Dobbs reconnection that somehow sparks some points for me. Otherwise, I'm taking Lloyd as my lock this week.
Whoa.
I'm locking against myself.
The anti-case lock.
Too many injuries. Too many buys. Can't overcome it this week.
Steve, welcome back. Who are you picking in the WNBA championship? We did that rundown to start.
I like the Connecticut Sun, Mike.
Oh, interesting. They didn't play well last night. The Lynx might be the best. I said the Sun were the best defensive team. The Lynx might be better. Sorry, Steve. Who are you picking in this game?
I got Lloyd. as my boom.
Yeah, I kind of like that pick, Steve. I'm going to take Lloyd to boom too, and I'm going to do it for one reason and one reason only. He's not playing Caleb Williams.
Yep.
I like the Justin Fields move, Dan. Let's get to it. I think this is a good recovery week for Lloyd. I think Jamar Chase going to come back with another nice week. That team's tough to run on. Can you throw on him? I believe so. I think Dan's going to boom. I still like Dan's team. Let's see how the coaching moves week to week. Good luck to you guys, though. I like a good red room battle. Did anybody pick Case?
No, that's a Larkin sweep.
Lloyd sweep.
What's ChatGPT got, Mike?
I didn't do it.
It's down.
Yeah. Elon Musk sued him. Game number 4. Innis DeVita. Can Andy get off the schneid in what has been a very unlucky season so far for DeVita, taking on our 3 seed Jeff?
Yeah, 3 seed Jeff. He's the number 4 team in scoring. Number 10 team Andy is actually number 7 in scoring, so don't sleep on DeVita. Wow. He actually scores a lot of points. Jeff outscored Andy in 3 of the first 4 weeks. So Jeff's kind of, if they had gone head to head, Jeff would have handled them. Henry is playing at Cincinnati. I really do think Henry is the key piece here. So whether or not you think that is a Henry game or not, I'm actually kind of kind of willing to like backpedal on that. I think this might be the Ravens offense going forward. I think it is a Derrick Henry offense going forward with Lamar kind of sprinkling in, as you can see. They have no wide receivers and the tight ends look pathetic. So I think this is the Ravens offense. Anyway, the thing that I like about DeVito is that we got a Monday Night Football game with the Mahomes-Kelsey stack, and that is going to be shoved down our throats with the Taylor Swift thing. No Rice, so Kelsey's going to get his. So I'm going to pick Andy, and I'm going to take him to boom, and I do it all the time, and I don't know why, but I'm going with it.
Steve, we haven't heard from you other than you riding the Connecticut Sun, which I appreciate. There's only 2 Qs, Singletary I don't count. There's only one big Q in this game. It appeared to be a high ankle sprain for Jonathan Taylor. Is he playing? And if he doesn't play, where does that tilt what your choice is this week? Welcome to the pod.
Thanks, Mike. Taylor's out. There's no way he's going to play. And if he does play, he's going to be an extremely limited role. That pickup by Spates to get Sermon is a interesting block on Innis with guys in the top 3 there. I agree with Pete. Kelsey is now going to be a target hog with Rice out. Mahomes and him are going to rekindle, considering his early season woes. And I have Andy as my upset.
Hey, Steve, I'm sure you've hurt your ankle. Have you had both high and low ankle sprains?
Just low.
Only low. Only low. Case, what's the worst injury you ever experienced?
What's that?
Worst injury.
Do you not remember my ankle injury right before senior year in baseball?
Well, I
We
knew
were
you had a
playing
low.
basketball at Case's house.
Yeah, I didn't think we were supposed to say that. You told me not to talk about that. You said,
Is
please say
it sports related, or does it have to
All
be a
right.
sports related injury?
Charlie's no longer with us. It's okay. I was so nervous going into those tryouts.
I forget what you told us. You told like you were like, say this story. I was like, I don't think you want me to say that story, but if you want me to, I'm.
It was not playing basketball.
It was also like on the 6.5-foot hoops too. Like, what's it?
No, he stepped on the sidewalk. He stepped on the sidewalk and rolled his ankle. Any injury?
It was Case's hoop.
Any injury, Pete?
Any injury, the worst one you've ever had?
Yeah.
Is it me? My turn?
I just threw it out there because we're talking about ankle injuries. I figured somebody would play.
I broke my hand.
When? Did you punch somebody?
Football. St. Peter Marion. Making a tackle on goal line defense.
You make the tackle?
Yeah, you can't really see it. See that scar at the bottom there? There you go.
Yep.
I can't see it. Oh,
Broke
all right, that's just your claw. We got 2 picks for DeVita. Do we see some love over for Team Innis, our 3rd place team? Case, your thoughts?
No, I'm going DeVita in the upset as well. I think he's got a nice plug and play this week with Jacoby Myers stepping in as the number 1 wide receiver to get somebody else in there. He's gotten close to double-digit targets the last 2 weeks. Adams is out. Get Myers in there somewhere, Andy. I think he's going to help you. And I agree with Pete. I think Henry, Cincinnati on the road, another volume day for him.
Boy, man, Dan's engagement on this chat has really been just awesome. I think we see Kamara come back to earth a little bit. I'm going to get on this boat, guys. I'm going to go sweep for Ange. I hope Andy gets to listen to this. I hope Andy feels like he's got some support from us. We're thinking about him. Let's take it home. Blue Bloods, get him off the board. Get off that schneid, Ange. Let's go. 4-0. Give it to him. Do we have to call Lloyd in to hear the Sean Tynan story? I don't know the Sean Tynan JV layup line story.
God. What, did he just wake up?
Let him write it. Let him write it. He's excited right now.
Yeah, he's very excited.
Is this the last game?
Yeah, this is the last one. Get that story in, Lloyd.
Dan, you got 4 minutes to get your story typed up. Hopefully there's not a word count limit. Pete, Christian, 7 versus 8. This is a matchup nobody wants, but we're all unfortunately going to get. Pete, give us the preview.
Why doesn't no one even want it?
I don't know. It was a good segue.
I'm the 7. I'm 8 in scoring. He's 8. He's 9 in scoring. DeVito, where'd you go? I've outscored Christian in 3 out of the 4 games. There you are. Oh, that handsome face. I can't concentrate. I've outscored Christian in 3 out of the 4 games. I'm a little concerned about whether to go with Gino or Kyler. I think I'm leaning towards Gino right now, so I might just pull him off the trash heap and plug him right in. Christian, he starts a lot of tight ends. It didn't seem to work for him last week. I really do like Michael Pittman. I think that would be a good play with Flacco behind quarterback for the Colts. Shout out to Flacco. So, but I'm going to pick myself. I'm going to go with that.
It's somewhat of a tricky game to fully analyze because Darian is still quarterbackless. So if you go to the waiver wire, there's a couple guys who he certainly could pick up and play. Does he go Daniel Jones on the road against the Seahawks? Does he go Deshaun Watson on the road against the Commanders, who showed up last week? Rolled ankle and layup line. That's the story you wanted to tell. That's why you can't go on the pod there.
He's out for weeks, Mike. He's out for weeks.
I feel like Dan
Pretty
got hurt in the
severe.
middle of a game one time, like in our senior year. He's whatever. Case, who does he play at quarterback?
Wear those little ankle air cast things all the time and tape them up.
I don't remember. It was
Boy,
either
had
him or
very sensitive ankles.
he did have sensitive ankles. Sensitive guy, Lloyd, believe it or not. He's got a lot of hair, but sensitive soul. Who does Darian pick at quarterback and take at quarterback, and who's your pick? Case.
Case, this is you.
He should take Sam Darnold in a trade, but he won't.
Who has Sam
No
Darnold?
one wants to trade for
Case
Sam
does.
Darnold.
I do. I was talking with him earlier about trying to help him out with quarterback this week. I don't know who's going to play at quarterback.
What a great guy. What a great guy you are.
Yeah. I like the Geno play, Pete. I think that stack with Metcalf is clicking right now. I like the play. I'm taking Pete. For some of it, it's like I just don't know what's going to happen in that Dolphins-Patriots game. Like both.
I can tell you
offenses
what's not going to happen are
Pat's defense
touchdowns.
can't stop anybody. Pat's defense can't stop it, but they can't get to anyone. So maybe A-Chain finally gets off. I don't know, but I'm taking Pete.
2 so far in bucket, Pete. Steve, who's your key matchup in this game, and where do you see Darian going, and who's your pick?
I'd love to say the quarterback play, but again, we don't know who's going to be playing for Christian. Maybe it will be.
I got them all.
Good point. I think on Christian's side, I agree with you, Mike. The tight end play right now that he's got, I like Bowers. I really do like Brock Bowers, but I think he's got way too much volatility. I said that last week too, but Pete's my lock this week. I like Pete's matchups. I think I agree with Geno Smith and Metcalf. That's a great stack to have right now because they are throwing the ball everywhere. And what is going to happen in the Patriots game this week in case? It's a mop fest. There are going to be no touchdowns. A-Chain is tough. I just don't think Christian's in a good spot right now. I think you're going to see Bigsby take a lot of time away from ETN. So he's in a little bit of trouble.
Steve, you said mop fest?
Yeah.
Mop.
I've never been to a mop fest. You never been to a mop fest?
No, I've never been invited. I feel left out.
It's a great place. You should try it, but it's really sloppy.
It's a
A
mop.
lot of mops, a lot of cleaning.
Exactly.
They have it at the Big E every year. It's the mop fest. Yeah.
You didn't talk about the most important game in this one. The most important game in this one is the London game because Darian really needs a big game from. What do you mean? What are you knowing?
Why is that such a big game? Addison, that's going to be his big matchup?
He has Garrett Wilson and Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison had 2 touchdowns last week.
You know those London games, how they go. Those London games are terrible.
You know what they say about the London games?
What do they say, Mike?
Mop fest.
Every time you
Sloppy.
come around, my London Bridge be going down.
Can I not pick either of these guys? Like, do I have to make a pick? I think these rosters
Yes, you do.
stink. I'll take Pete. I don't want to be left out. I don't know. I agree with you, Steve.
Do you want to take Pete or Christian?
Luca, you best be saying the right answer.
Who are you taking, Pete or Christian?
Pete.
Attaboy.
Luca, nice haircut, man.
He was named after me. Thank you, Luca. That's a
Do we have
That's
4
it.
sweeps? Do we have 4 sweeps?
that's a Pizza Luca sweep right there.
We
And
got a Green sweep, a
Freud.
Lloyd sweep, a DeVita sweep, and a Pete sweep.
And then it's just
What about
space now. That's the only. Lloyd, who's your lock this week?
Wait. So everyone had CJ but me. I had Mike.
No, I have me.
Get off
You and
the
I are
sweep
together.
train. I changed my
And
pick.
that's it.
Do we get superlatives in case?
Yeah, we're good.
Steve, you came late. Anything you want to add before we sign off?
No.
All
Quarter
right.
pole.
We got to work on our sign-offs.
We don't have great sign-offs. Maybe
But
we'll invite Lloyd next week.
you're the guy that signs us off. You're the MC.
I know.
Anything
Literally
you guys
and
want to add? DeVito, we're coming up on your 100th show. I don't know if you listened to the beginning, but 100 shows ago, Brian Casey joined for the first time. You were shortly after that.
Wow.
Is there anybody we haven't had on? Breen?
I did a one-on-one episode with Spade.
Breen came on once. Did DeVita come on?
Andy's
I've
been on.
done a one-on-one episode with DeVita. I got him in the Legends series.
Legend series.
I remember that.
What an awesome idea.
We got to bring that back. I'm gonna do 2 more.
It's on you.
All right, I'll
Mike.
bring it back.
Mike, I'm in a big scramble tomorrow.
All right. Good luck, Steve. Go low, everyone. Dan picked Breen to lock. Love to hear it, guys. For
All
Pete,
right.
for Brian, for Steve. That's episode 107. Good luck this week.